welcome back to this week's episode of the 44's View. It's myself, Ryan. Myself,
Bob. What's
Bobbalicious.
happening? I thought you were going to not even say my
I don't
name
know whether
there.
to ever introduce you or not, because you always say it to me and then I introduce
I'm
myself.
Bob, hey.
But this is Bob. You might have seen him around here before.
I've seen him.
And we're delighted to be joined by Melina Malone.
Hello. How are you?
I was looking at your Instagram and it's like Neo Soul Singer,
Yeah.
artist, Gemini, Cajo.
Yeah. It's been that for a long time. I'm just, it's one
It covers all
sentence.
bases.
Just, yeah. everything.
All bases of your
bases are
personality.
covered.
And shout out to our sponsors, Dublin Whiskey, for coming on board. We are delighted to have you on. I think we said we were going to start with a little taste test of the honeycomb
We're
liquor.
going to go for it. Talk amongst yourself.
Yeah. So while Bob's getting that started, I do have a little kind of icebreaker question that I was thinking about today. Because, you know, holiday season's coming up. Like this, we're all going on our holidays during the summer.
Are we?
Well, I'm
I
sure
haven't
we
booked
are.
that yet.
Well, you can't book things for a long time now.
I have a babby on the way.
He has a baby on the way.
That's
Babby's
brilliant.
actually due
Soon.
in the next couple of weeks. But we're thinking of going away. Like when
Yeah.
he's like only a small little plane trip.
Yeah,
I mean like just
little,
across.
little 40-minute
yeah.
game or
Get
something.
Something
like
like just to
used
get him
to it.
kind of used to
But
it.
I was thinking, so if someone do
Sorry, do you want to stay for the pop?
you want to stay for the pop?
Ooh.
We do enjoy that pop here in the 44th
Passes
View.
down that glass there now.
But I was going to ask you. So if I was to come up to you and say, I'll give you, you get 2 holidays a year, right?
Mm-hmm.
And the only catch is it's randomized. So there's a wheel. Say there's a wheel spin, you get everything for free, but you don't get to pick the destination. So it's just all the major cities or whatever in the world.
Okay.
And then also there's another little caveat. There's another spinner.
Okay.
with
How many
the-
spinners are
There's
there?
2 spinners.
Oh God.
And it's how many stars the hotel is that you're going to stay in.
Okay.
Okay.
And you can't take any more holidays.
So just-
So if you take this
Just these
deal,
ones.
it's these 2 holidays, and as you
else.
know, that's the caveats.
I think that's I mean, so you're saying that like I can spin these and I could end up on a random thing, or it
You
could be
could
really
end
good
up
or
in
really bad.
You could end up in Thailand.
A 1
you could
star
end
in
up
Guam or
yeah.
something like that. Yeah.
Some like it could, and they're the only holidays you get.
Okay. Cool.
Would just take the deal.
I don't think
And
I
now
take-
everything's paid for.
Yeah.
You don't have to worry about flights. With the accommodation comes with the wheel. But you could get a 5-star in Miami.
I think it's too much for risk for me.
think
I
so?
have a family
I
now.
Definitely take that.
Yeah,
I feel
I
like
would as well.
yeah. I just imagine seeing all the places you'd see. You'd go.
I know,
You'd,
but-
it would
Yeah.
be, if you want to travel, it would be the best option. I
Yeah.
feel, and it's a good way to see the world. Even if, like you don't have like. I like the fact that there's a bit of variation.
Yeah,
variation
that
to it,
little
but
bit
You
of
know,
risk.
1 star,
Okay.
maybe a 5-star. Like, yeah, I like that.
Yeah.
I would
Okay,
do it.
fair. I
I
don't
think-
think I would.
But like, imagine it like this, right? So
hit me.
you do it the first time, you get 5 stars in Miami, say, as I said there. That's a great holiday. You're like, yeah, this is legal.
Yeah.
Like, I mean, top of the pops, 5 stars. You're like the royalty there. But then you could get a 1 star in Bladen, I don't know, Azerbaijan or something. Which
You run the risk.
You run the
You
risk. I'm not saying there's nothing wrong with that, but like you don't want a 1
It
star
is-
anywhere.
Yeah,
I mean?
that's very
Yeah.
true. Yeah. I don't know. Like, part of me would kind of be like, yeah, I'll give it. I'm a gambler. I'll do it. Like,
Yeah.
why not? Let's see what's out there. But the other part of me is like, no, do you know what?
Yeah.
No, this is not.
But then everything's paid for.
Yeah,
That's a
very
nice little caveat.
tempting.
okay,
It is very
alright, then
tempting.
I'll do it. Okay, go on.
It's not going to
Spin
happen.
that-
We just
I
want to
know,
know.
Spin that wheel. Go on. I'll try it.
No, I think
I want to see the places.
I think it's definitely worth the risk because as you were saying, Melina, you could get somewhere, even like a little 2-star somewhere quaint would be nice.
Yeah.
You know, just like, and it's 2 weeks, you don't have to pay for it.
I mean, okay, you're selling it. on
I'm
me.
selling
okay,
it,
you're
yeah.
selling
Yeah.
it.
So
more
Magic
and more, mate.
Genie, if you want to come and
Yeah.
give us two,
You
two
want to give us
wheels.
that? We'll have it. Do we try and let's have a little taste
give it a
test.
taste.
Cheers, everybody.
Cheers.
Cheers. Thank you.
Shout out Dublin.
Ooh.
Ooh, it's
Spicy.
sweet,
Yeah, it's
Very
honeycomb.
isn't it? And
Very
very
sweet.
smooth. Oh my god.
Yeah.
Oh guys.
That's what.
She's
that's
certainly
what
selling it, guys.
Selling it. That
No.
went down so easy.
Yeah, yeah.
Goes
no.
down a little too easy though.
It
That's
is.
the
Yeah. Doesn't even taste like alcohol. Really. That's mad.
thing. I'm just gonna have some more. Tastes like more.
No, it is. It's I don't know. Like I've with whiskey because obviously it's a very strong taste.
Yeah.
But with the honeycomb, it's nice little
sweetener on it.
little sweetener on it.
Sweetener
Yes.
helps, like, yeah.
You'd make a very nice cocktail with that, I feel.
Oh,
Yeah, that's what we were saying that before.
Yeah.
Because of the
We
sweetness,
had this
you know?
come up previously when we were like, oh, let's like do cocktails for people like when they come in and so. And then
I was like, I'm
we
not
both
going to do a
looked at each other and
mixology
goes,
course.
"Hang on."
It's a lot of effort, though.
I was like, do I have to make
Shaking cocktails in the corner.
talk amongst yourselves there for a minute?
You're
No,
putting
but then-
so much pressure on
Well,
yourselves. You're like,
we literally had this conversation. I was like, I can make these for the guy, and he was like, well, you can do it. I'm not gonna do it. And I was like, I don't
there's
know
no
how
way.
to do these. I'm like, we were setting the bar really high for that. as
Like,
well.
oh, we got a new sponsor. Let's do something different.
Yeah.
I was
Like,
like,
what if someone comes in and wants like, I don't know, like a
yeah, it's
what's it? I don't even know cocktails. I don't really know too many. But I was like, I don't know how to do these.
yeah. Well, see, I think that as itself, it's like
It goes down
You get a
pretty
little cocktaily taste. Like if someone gave me that as a cocktail,
You'd
I'd
have
be
it.
like, oh, that's really nice. What's that called?
Mm.
But it's just by itself.
It's tasty. It goes
It
down
is.
smooth. Goes down smooth.
Yeah.
We'll jump into yourself a little bit. Talk us through like your beginnings with kind of getting involved in like music and how did it kind of come around to yourself and what was the aspirations and
yeah.
like the what you call it, the inspiration for even going into music.
So I think I always knew I was going to go into music from a very, very young age.
Yeah.
Both my parents are actually musicians,
Oh,
and
wow.
yeah, they are. They play very different music to me. My dad was in like a ska kind of reggae
Really?
band
Yeah.
Wow.
in
So you
Finglas.
didn't lick it off a stone.
Yeah, they're really famous in
spot.
Finglas. And my mom does like country kind of music. Like,
Oh,
so
amazing.
they're-
So you just said, let's go soul music.
well, they did like I listened to
Of course,
loads of different types of music when I was younger, and soul was big in my house as well. But I learned, I think, when I went to college, I studied in BIM. I did vocals there. That's where I really found my love of neo soul and like the genre. That's where I really solidified, because I wasn't sure what kind of singer I wanted to be or artist when you're young and you're like 15, 16 making
Course, yeah.
songs. And I obviously learned so much from my parents, but I kind of paved my own way then when I got a bit older and learned.
That's
who
the
I
thing though as well.
was.
You take
Yeah.
that inspiration that you kind of like had when you were like, my dad was a DJ. My mom worked in golden discs like for
Yeah,
years
yeah.
and stuff. So my dad would always have like 70s like chic and like big soul music and stuff. So I learned like he would always like in particular with chic and stuff like that. Bernard Edwards was the bass player, and my dad loved to play bass and stuff like that as well. So he'd be like listen to that bass line. So that when I got older, I was always like learning bass and stuff like that, like to start out. So it's mad how you
They
take that
influence
from your
you.
parents and stuff like that, how it influences you going
Yeah,
forward.
definitely.
And so that kind of was a big influence on me. So it's interesting to hear how much you took from your own parents and stuff like that, and your own like upbringing and stuff. It's great. Like.
Definitely.
But it is funny, like, because whenever we talk to musicians on the podcast, there's always the inspiration from the parents.
Oh yeah, like
It's
it
funny,
always
like-
gets past. Like in the car as well, I feel like is where you get indoctrinated. Like,
Yeah.
you get me? Like, I feel that's where it happens. Like that's where my dad got me with like Pink Floyd and stuff like
Oh,
that. He used to
yeah.
just put on the wall.
Yeah.
And the wall, I don't know, it's just mostly just sound effects, and then it has like obviously songs in between. So yeah, that was a big one for me.
And it's funny for me, like I've no musical background. Bob's the musician in the podcast, but with me growing up, as you say, talking about parents and stuff, my mum would always listen, and I kind of equated to you in a sense of your kind of sound. I used to listen to a lot of Tony Braxton
Oh yeah.
and like
Brilliant.
Whitney Houston and stuff.
Oh,
my,
yeah.
my ma used to always have her on in the house, and then when I was listening to your album, I was like, kind of brought me back to those, like that
Nice.
kind of the vocal,
Yeah.
the female, real strong female vocal, like, and
Love that.
it brought me back to me younger years in Paris
Lovely.
flats. Yeah,
It's
That's
it's
great.
I said this to himself there earlier. Like when I listen to your music, it has like a modern vintage like tone about it.
Yeah.
Like, and that's like echoing
Yeah.
what you just said as well. Like it's very like I can see like the inspiration coming through. Even when it starts, like there's like a real retro kind of like it's like putting into a tape deck or
Yeah,
something like that.
yeah.
I love that.
I'm
That's
really into
so
that as
good.
well. I love like exploring the modern elements and bringing in the older kind of sounds that like there's a nostalgia there.
Yeah.
There's like you can't forget your influences. Like they're
Yeah,
just,
of
it's impossible. They're so, I go into the studio with like reference tracks. That's my whole thing.
have
Like
to.
I'm a reference girl. So like I make playlists for everything. Like every single thing in my life is playlisted. And my studio sessions are very much like that too. I'm very like meticulous with the way I build my soundscape.
yeah,
If that makes sense. Like I think Yeah, I worked with some just amazing producers on my last album, Adam Shanahan and Alex O'Keefe. And Adam in particular, like he is kind of meticulous in that way as well. I'd go in with like a very specific snare sound, for example, and be like,
Has to be done.
this is what I want for this song.
Now
or
make
like,
it work.
why does this sound like this? Do you know what I mean? And that I think you can probably hear that through my songs as well,
100%,
and the way
yeah.
I make music anyway.
And with the kind of the neo soul sound, like was there any kind of musical influences while you were growing? I know you said your father and your mother were inspirations for getting into music, but like as you started kind of thinking, like when was your kind of click in your head where you were like, I like this sound? Was there someone like a particular artist or song or?
Do you know what it was? Yeah, when I found neo soul, because I knew about soul music. I was always my mom would listen to Marvin Gaye on repeat. That was like our whole childhood. And I knew Aretha Franklin and all the big greats, Whitney Houston, all the big soulful singers. But then I found neo soul when I was in first year college. And the first time I listened to Erykah Badu, it was on and on. One of my vocal teachers put it on, and it just actually blew my mind.
Yeah.
Like that was when I was like, here it is. Here's what I like. So then I found Jill Scott, I found D'Angelo, found Voodoo, listened to his like his whole discography, everything Maxwell, like the whole Soulquarians era. That's when I was like, oh my god, this is like makes me feel something that I've never
But it's
felt
mad when
before.
it opens up your mind to that sort of,
Oh,
and
yeah,
you start like
exactly.
creatively thinking, oh wow, this is what I kind of want to do. Like it's fascinating. I had the same experience like when I was growing up, like listening to like rock bands and stuff. When I first heard, I don't know, like the likes of Green Day, and I was like, this is me. Like this speaks to me.
Oh, totally. It became a bit of my identity for a while. I was like, I am neo soul. But then I was like, no, I have. But then, yeah, like obviously as you get older and the more you learn,
Your
the more
taste
people you
expands.
work with.
Yeah.
You realize you shouldn't pigeonhole yourself as well. Because
Never.
that's, you keep growing as an artist and you evolve and you work with new people and you learn so much about yourself. It's such a journey, like as an artist, I feel you.
Yeah, it's great. Like for me, because as I said, I don't come from a musical background, and I love sitting in between two. Like Bob, I always say about Bob is like how he talks about music and stuff. It's obviously on a different level to me because I never like went down the music route.
Of course.
So like I don't like to sit here and pretend that I know what I'm talking about, whatever. But I do love when I hear two people talking, and I'm like, holy shit! Like there is something there, there's sustenance to what people do in this space.
Of course,
that's not just a song being released, and that's what I love about the podcast as well, is having people on that go through these kind of experiences and then getting to hear them firsthand. Because since we kind of reached out to yourself, I've been listening to your album Aphrodite, and I was like this is an album that I would have never listened to, not in a bad way, like as in like it's no use or anything, but more of I wouldn't have heard it.
Wouldn't have been exposed to that.
Exposed to it, yeah. Exposed is the word.
Definitely,
And then
yeah.
you listen to it, and I'm like, holy shit! Like there's music out there that's really cool, and that's kind of why we're doing the podcast. Like, and it's really interesting to hear two people that know what they're talking about when it comes to music. So
I love that aspect where you were
you.
talking about there about going into the studio with that particular sound in mind and stuff like that. Like, but you have to be prepared. Like when you kind of go into that, like, that space, like you're going in to create, but it's important that you know exactly kind of what you want as well. There's obviously room for like, creativity and that sort of thing. It might come out different to how you initially like thought it would, but to be prepared going in there, sometimes I would go in like too prepared almost, like, and you're kind of stiff and kind of what you want and stuff like that. But one thing I've learned over time is just kind of be open to people like giving you back, like, it's not going to be how you want it, but I might get close to it. You know what I mean? There has to be a little bit of that give and take as well, which I think is important. But also like getting your own like, creative taste into your like, what you're putting out in the studio. Like it's super important. But no, there's a song that I was listening to actually earlier. It's a Naive.
Yeah.
I love that tune.
Thank you.
That's an absolute belter of a tune.
Was,
like, even the drums on it are just like...
that was it was one of the first songs I wrote for the album.
Really?
It was before I even knew it was going to be an album. I wrote it I have a collaborator called Stephen McCann. He does he's my guitarist, and we wrote that one just before lockdown. We'd had like a big bank of songs that we were like trying to get gear everything up, and then lockdown hit, and that's when it like all clicked with me, where I was like, I was stuck in my thoughts for a long time, and
as
I
we
was
all
just
were.
like that was going to be the first single I was going to release. I was so excited for that song, and then I was like, I'd only put 2 singles out, I think, or 3 before I did the album, which is kind of mental. Like people, everyone told me not to do it. Everyone was like, "Why won't you just release an EP? Like, what are you doing? Putting an album out? You've like barely any songs out." But it just came to me as a fully formed thing, and I was like, "No, this now it has to be like this is one of the main of the main songs on this album, and I'm gonna just do it." Like, and it took me 3 years, but like. That was one of the catalysts for that, which is so it's a special one, definitely. Yeah, I love that track.
Good.
Thank you.
With the kind of creative aspect of writing songs, because I know Bob, again, I always
You reference me.
reference Bob when it comes to music, yeah. But when he's like writing music and he's been in a band and stuff, and I've been a #1 fan for a long time. But like, I love when I hear the song and I'm like, oh, Bob fucking wrote that, like.
Yeah.
And it's interesting. So for you, like, what's your kind of, how do you put the kind of words into a song, or like, what's your creative process for these kind of songs that are just really strong and like they speak to you in a sense as well?
Like, for example, as well for myself, if I'm writing something, it comes from a title.
Yeah.
So I will look at a title first, or a title will come to me and I'll be like, well, what's that about? And then I put the lyrics into it from that. I might extract certain things that have happened to me, that I've heard of or something, and put it into that. But it always kind of comes from a title aspect. Whereas like Liam, who was the lead singer of our band, he would write completely differently to myself. Like we would chalk and cheese when it came to that. He had to have the meaning down, and then the title would be the last thing that would ever like be brought up. So there was a lot of kind of friction. But like he'd ask me like, oh, have you came up with anything? I'd be like, yeah, I have a title. And he'd be like, what's it? And I was it's called Soil. And then he's like, what's it about? Haven't a clue. We'll get there though. Like, do you know what I mean? So how does that go for yourself?
How do you write?
Do you know what? Like I do have a process, but it does change a lot as well. I've done that before where I do it a lot with collaborators, where if a collaborator will come to me with the name of a song and like no lyrics, just kind of bare bones of something, and I'll write based on that, the name of the song, as what you just said. Most of the time it comes melody first, so melody and music first, and then lyrics after. Now sometimes that doesn't happen as well. Like I've written, there's a song I wrote recently, I think it was I don't even remember. I've written so many songs at this point. I'm like, what? But
got a lot of songs.
Some of them come from poetry, so like it really depends. But generally speaking, I like to go sit in front of a piano, sit in front of an instrument, or in front of like an instrumental, and then write from there, and then kind of figure out how I feel about the song, and then from there I can write the lyrics. Lyrics usually come last, but sometimes they don't. But most of the time
changes,
they do. It's hard to say for definite, but
it is a different process to everybody.
I'm guessing it's kind of a day-to-day thing. Like if you're feeling one way about something or feeling the other way, and you kind of bring from real life, because I know a lot of themes within your music is kind of like, there's a lot of feminism and like strong independent women, and I'd like to think I relate to that because growing up on the music that I grew up on. Is that do you kind of pinch things from your life and bring them to the forefront? Because I know Bob does that as well. So
do you know what, I am trying to do that a lot more with my new music. What I'm writing at the moment is very, very personal. For some reason I don't necessarily always write from a very personal perspective. Like my album was very conceptual. It's a Greek mythology, so it's very, very, it's kind of heavy topics, and I thought about it kind of almost in an outer body way. Like I was imagining it was about someone else, not me, because it's Greek myth. Like obviously I'm not living that, you know.
But I did kind of I felt like it was reference to kind of real life of you, like some maybe parts, from your life.
And definitely like Tina Afto is like the song that's sung partially in Greek. My mom is half Greek.
I was gonna say
that song is very kind of more personal.
What's going on here?
What is this? It's good.
I love to write so I've been in like a long-term relationship for like 11 years. So I have like
welcome to the gang.
Welcome to the gang. Yeah.
I have like a very steady love life. Like there's no mad stuff going on. So like I don't. Yeah,
so I get
but I
what you
have
mean.
a lot
You
of
have to
breakup
kind
songs.
of.
I have to channel like stories from my friends and stories.
That's,
I write not
you're writing for
necessarily.
someone else in their scenarios.
The hangover buzz when you're with your mates, and they're like,
tell
this
me
guy.
Tell me all your drama.
Oh my God, this is really good.
Literally. That's how I write a lot of stuff, to be honest. Yeah, like even my most recent songs, like if I have to change, it's about a breakup and about like being in this toxic, horrible relationship. And I'm like, that's not me.
That's not me.
But, you know, I
Yeah.
have other meanings from it.
Of
you know?
course, yeah, and it's like to pick from someone else. It's still real life.
Yeah,
and you're just
exactly.
putting your kind of twist on it, like, and it obviously sounds great
Do you know
as
what?
well.
Do you know what it is as well? When I was writing in the band and stuff like that, I knew that obviously Liam was going to be singing this. He's the lead singer and stuff like that. So I'm writing for him in a way.
Yeah.
So I could take me out of it and then imagine like if it's going for him, like that he's wrote it and it's coming through this vessel and stuff like that. It's not
Just
actually...
ringing Liam and be like, so how's you and
Yeah.
Kira's relationship right now? Are you on the racks?
Oh no, that's terrible. Yeah, no, but in a way, it freed up my own imagination to do that and like to obviously go through someone else, like, and maybe this like it would affect them differently, and like it is mad, like hearing that, like, because it kind of hits home in a way.
Yeah, it's interesting.
Calm man away.
I'd say it's tough as well because it's like to put something so personal onto a piece of paper and like put it to the world.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
Those are hard. Like I've seen a lot of artists. I've done it as well. Like some songs are very personal and they're so hard to sing. Like do live every night. Then imagine you're doing a tour and you have to sing that every single night.
Oh yeah,
Like pour your heart out every time. Like, and that's kind of sometimes what is expected of you as an artist, which is mad.
You have to
think
kind
about.
of get to that zone and you have to do it
to feel them. Like I feel things very deeply, especially when I perform. Like I feel every lyric. So
You really do. I've seen like when it's like you're invested. You're
I'm
in
the
it.
moment,
You're in it,
very
like,
much.
and that's
Yeah.
brilliant for an art. Like I really admire that as well. When I see people
you.
do that and haven't like they push themselves to those limits, like for a performance, it hits home a lot more. Do you get what I mean? Like,
Yeah,
And I think with the style of music as well,
Yeah.
like you have to maybe have that bit about you to be like,
soul. You have to
the
bare your
deep-
soul. I think
Oh,
like
that's
it's so
why it's called
Oh my
soul.
god! Oh my god! It's all clicking.
just a light bulb above me.
Made sense. Yeah.
But and how was the process of writing the album? Because I know you were saying you had a lot of songs there in the bank, but like to kind of maybe bring it all together and like make it an album. Because I know you mentioned you're half Greek.
Yeah, my
Yeah,
mom's
yeah.
or wait, what?
kind-
I'm quarter Greek.
Quarter
I was like, what? My mom's half Greek. Yeah, I was
Okay.
like, where? Yeah, so that was really big catalyst for the writing of the album. Then
And was that something that like maybe you spoke to your mother about? With like, I'm guessing you grew up in Dublin. And,
grew up in Dublin. She never knew her Greek father, so
Okay,
she
yeah.
kind of learnt about it like when she got older, and she is very, very interested in her Greek heritage. So she would.
And I'd say that was a great journey for you as well.
It's
Like,
really interesting. I'd love to like learn more about it still. But like she always cooked Greek food. We listened to loads of Greek music, and
Smashing a few
I was
plates.
just about to say, smash it. You fucking
I
smash
know.
a few plates.
That's gas. Yeah, so like when I basically the very, very, very catalyst of the album was I learned that Greek song Tina Afto. It's actually a Greek folk song. Just that part that I sing is interpolated from like a song written in like the 20s or something. And I learned for college. I was doing like some exam and I had to learn loads of different styles of music, and I found this folk song. It was actually originally sung by Sophia Loren in this movie called Boy on a Dolphin, and it was so beautiful, really sad, like kind of haunting. And that was like when I was really starting to learn about my Greek heritage and learn about Greek folk music and that kind of stuff. And it was when I was sitting in the studio with Stephen and we had like this bossa nova drum groove a few years later, and that folk song came back to me, and that's but like it's completely different. If you listen to the original, you'd be like, whoa, like, that's crazy. But it's,
Inspiration comes from all these sort of places.
and
though.
that once again was another catalyst of like this is a body of work. It feels like I need to explore this more than just this single, and I just got so immersed in. So I was reading a lot of books on Greek mythology. Like that's kind of where
Which
it was.
is like that's something that really intrigues me is Greek mythology. Like,
so
like
fascinating.
it's crazy cool. Like, and like I think maybe Hollywood has kind of over exemplified like the gods themselves.
Yeah, I get you.
You get me? Like I wouldn't be religious in the sense of Catholicism or whatever, but I do like I don't believe in God because there's not enough evidence or whatever. But with Greek mythology, I'm like, I really hope that was real because it was so fucking cool. Like the Greek god of war and the god of
Ares.
God,
I know. Well, the gods were like humans because they
Yeah.
were fickle, do you know, and they were cruel, and they weren't like this omnipotent, like God as we know it. I feel is like we cannot question them, and like, do you know what I mean?
yeah.
Whereas like I love the ficklency of like Greek myth, because there's so many parallels with real life, and you can see like, you see how angry they are and how like shameful they can be, and the way that they retaliate like human beings do. So I think we can learn so much from it and bring it into that. That's why I was like, there's so many parallels here with like, for me anyway, I went into kind of the feminist lens with it, and like just the fact that like so many of all the Greek myths are like told from male philosophers' perspective.
Yeah, of
so
course,
I was like, wait, this doesn't make any sense. Like all the stories were just like, and then this angry woman came and she murdered everybody, and I don't know why. And it was like, maybe because like she was,
Goddamn
you know,
patriarchy.
yeah, it's literally like, it made me so frustrated. I was like, I want to tell these stories from a woman's perspective, you know, because like we don't really have any like historical like stories from that time. And now I've found lots of books since then about women, the untold stories of women in Greek myth, which is like kind of where my album came from then, you know.
amazing.
So
because I do remember Stephen Fry was doing an interview with Gay Bourne, and he was talking about like if he got to the gates of heaven and God was like, do you believe in me now?
Oh God, yeah.
And he was like, no. And he's like, but if I went to Zeus or Hades or whatever, I would accept them because they have been precocious, or they are shameful, and they weren't pretending to be this
anything different.
Exactly.
They had flaws and stuff, and
and it's like, I think just the stories of the Greek mythology is like real, like it's something that I haven't really looked into. As I said, it's more kind of the Hollywood kind of thing, but I do think like the idea of it is a lot more kind of, you can understand it a bit more, of course. And it's that kind of, they obviously pulled from them stories for Hollywood because of how fucking amazing they were. You get me? So definitely. It is definitely, and like for yourself with the like learning about the Greek heritage, was that something for you that you were like really happy with? Like, is it something, because like you're saying your dad was in a ska band in Finglas, and then next of all you have Greek heritage as well. It's like there's loads going on here.
Of my life. It's
do you think you're starting to wear that with a bit of pride now?
Yeah, definitely. And I think even the Greek side of me, I think, was easier to kind of get my head around it, maybe. I don't know why, but I was like, but then the Dublin side now, I'm really trying to embrace even more and kind of be proud of where I came from, and you know, that's, I want that my new music to kind of go in that direction now, because I've done the Greek thing. I want to do the Dublin thing now. But
what's up?
Also Jim Larkin on O'Connell Street, like that's the next album cover, like, you know what I mean?
You said you went to college in BIM.
Yeah.
What, like, for me, I didn't go to college. I went to college for a year and dropped out.
Didn't even go.
How, like, when you're kind of, because, you know, when you're going to college or when you're leaving school, as you said, at that young age, you don't really know what you want to do with your life. And that was kind of how I felt going to college. I was like, I don't know if I want to do this, and then I end up dropping out. How hard was it? Like, was it hard for you to kind of be like, I want to go and study music? Because, you know, when you go to your counsellor or whatever, they're like, oh, get a trade, or go down this route, trying to go to like, business, or
like, not put you off, but like have something to fall back on. Sort of thing. Like,
it
was it that Robin Williams said when he told his dad he wanted to be an actor? He was like, oh great, just have a backup profession like welding, like just something random, like, you know what I mean? Like, it's like, just have that just in case.
So how was that kind of like when you're 17, 18 going into college? You're like, I wanted to do music. Like, was that?
I'm lucky because my parents were musicians, so they I never ever thought that was weird for me. Growing up, I was like, obviously I'm going to do it, but no, other people in my school. I remember my counsellor first thing, she was like, "Are you sure you want to do music?
Really sure you want to do this?
Like, you are not going to make any money." And she was dead right. But
we're here.
But like, I was like, of course, what else is there? But like, that's mad that you brought that up, because I actually have a really mad story about just before I went to college.
We love a mad story.
I didn't actually, I don't know if I've ever told this publicly, but
41st View exclusive.
Well,
exclusive.
When I was 17, right, I used to put up loads of videos on YouTube, covers and all, and I didn't know anything. I didn't know what I was like, anything about who I was or anything, but I was putting these covers up, and this A&R reached out to me from the UK and was like, "Oh my God, love your voice, blah blah blah. I work with loads of these big artists in the UK, and we would love to sign you. And this was like age 17. I'd never written a song. I didn't know who I was. I didn't know anything about myself. And
So going through my emo phase.
Literally. And he flew over to Dublin to meet my parents. It was
wow.
like, it was serious.
So
like
I thought you were
he
gonna
was-
say it was a phony
no,
or
he
whatever,
was
but it
like
legit.
literally legit. He offered my mom like 40 grand or something. Was like, he was like, just as an basically he was like, let me bring her to London and we will basically mold her into anything we like. It's mad to think that that's what it was, because looking back I was like, oh, amazing, I'm gonna do it.
Sign me up.
But
Mr. Stranger.
yeah, he was basically like, I'd just gotten into BIM and I was like, I kind of want to go to college and I want to figure out who I am, because he was asking me like, what were your influences? And I was like, I don't know. Like, I don't even know what, like.
I woke up at 12 o'clock yesterday.
I'm like,
I know what I want to do.
I don't know who I am, like, and so I thought, like, in my head, I was like, oh, it's grand, I'll just do college and I'll get back in touch with him in a while. But like, that was not really the option. It was either go with him now or go to college. And I went to college, and like, I actually, looking back, people are like, oh my God, do you regret that? Do you regret not taking that opportunity? I don't think I do.
Yeah.
Because he was working with a lot of pop singers. He wanted me to be like a big kind of pop vocalist, like dance pop kind of thing. That was where he was
You think
wanting
he
me
might
to go
have
in.
molded you into something you're not?
Yeah,
want to
the
be,
artists he
yeah.
was working with at the time would have been in that world. And like, they're all big artists now, but like, they were also in terrible deals, record deals for years. And that probably would have been me. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And it's mad to think like, what could have been,
Yeah.
Of course,
you know,
yeah.
there. But
You stuck to your guns and you were
I'm
kind of
glad
like,
I
this
did.
is still what I want to do.
I
and you
just
went
knew,
with
I
it.
was like,
Yeah,
I'm not ready
isn't
for this.
me.
Like,
Yeah.
I don't know what
is-
kind of singer I
It's
want
a very
to be.
mature kind of stance to
it's
take at
admirable,
that
like,
age, like
Yeah.
'Cause
especially if you're getting offered the moon and the stars
Yeah.
and you're 17.
Because that's the thing though as well. If like some big wig comes over and says
Yeah,
that to you,
start
you're
showing
automatically
passion.
like,
Exactly.
wow,
Now,
can
I will
provide
say
for
my
this, that, and
mom
the
was so good. She didn't tell me about the money at the
other.
time.
That's a good thing though.
Because she
yeah.
knew it would sway my
41.
decision. She was like, no, like, I'm going to keep it a secret from her because I don't want her to be swayed by any of that.
Any
Like,
of that,
and
yeah.
they needed
Shout
the
out
money
the Mars,
at the
yeah.
time. But she was like, no, this is your choice. Like,
That's
and
really good.
Yeah,
really,
it was
really good.
definitely the right one for me,
Yeah.
I think.
No, that's because like even like without being like you look at the fallout of all like musicians from back in the day now and like all the
And the
stories that are
labels,
coming out
yeah,
on labels
exactly.
Yeah, like
and you
just
could have been a product of that.
Oh, Jesus,
You know?
like, it's mad.
But once they tie you into those sort of things, like record labels have
snookered,
been,
yeah.
like it becomes increasingly more difficult for you to get out of these things and to be.
And I feel
different.
like they're actually just getting worse. I don't think the labels, like, you used to get a huge, when you get a record deal, you used to get like 100 grand, or you get a huge advance. The advances are getting smaller and smaller, and you're signing your
behinds
life
now.
away, literally. But like, that's the mad thing when we were that age, when you're even I think like 5 or 6 years ago, people didn't really know how
What was
labels
involved in
worked
it.
Yeah.
and
Yeah,
how
yeah.
like you're basically, it's just like a glorified loan from this label.
and then they own
they
you.
own you forever.
In
Like,
some aspects, it's not as well because we had a guest on. I won't mention the name, and they had said that they had been signed to Warner,
Right.
like Ireland, and there was nothing. There was nothing given
Mm.
up front. It was just basically, you're under our umbrella, and the one piece of advice they gave was just make TikToks.
yeah, that's
Just
literally
make TikToks.
they've gotten rid of their marketing team.
And it's like, are you actually
and
mad?
that's literally what they do.
Like,
They're
you're
like,
serious?
yeah,
Like, I just,
then it's like
when
they're
I
watching-
heard that, I was like, that is just
It's
ridiculous.
heartbreaking.
Like,
watching it and
yeah.
heartbreaking. Like,
The company I watched and they're like, oh, he's only doing 300 views on a video. Get him out.
get this guy out of here.
It's so grim.
That is so disheartening, though.
Yeah.
You know, if that's what you're kind of going for, and like it's like the pageantry almost of like you're being signed to this label, you
yeah.
think that there's going to be X, Y, and Z. Nothing. Just
No.
like you're under an umbrella. Yeah, cool. We'll look after you, but like do TikToks.
Yeah, exactly.
Like,
I
no
wish,
thanks.
I really wish people would, if there's any takeaway from this, is that like people learn that it's not the be all end all of
Exactly,
signed to a
it's
label,
yeah.
and it doesn't mean that you're doing better than anyone else. Like
all.
I've been an independent artist for my entire career, and I am very proud of that fact. And I think it's
Absolutely.
really, it's 100 times harder. Let me
Yeah.
like make
Oh,
no
yeah.
mistakes about it, and you're
It's
on
been
your
tough,
own
folks.
all the time.
Guys, it's been really rough
It's
out there.
been rough. Please buy my album.
Please go get it.
Oh, but like, I wouldn't trade it for the fact that like
course,
I
yeah.
own all my own music
do you
forever.
think-
100%.
You know?
Do you think now if you could get like a looking glass and maybe look and see if you took that path where it would go? I think that would like
Yeah.
obviously
Just-
hindsight.
Hindsight is like, you know,
Yeah.
2020, isn't it? Is that what
But
they
yeah,
say?
yeah.
But yeah, like I still think you're on the right track.
Yeah,
like.
I would agree as
I
well.
hope so.
Yeah, like no,
Yeah.
you are like because like as you said, they would have probably molded you into something you're not.
Yes.
That's the thing.
Exactly.
And then if you didn't
Yeah.
make it, they would have dumped you, and then you would have had to re-find yourself at a
Exactly.
later year.
Yeah.
a later
I just
time.
don't even know if I would have found. Well, I hope I would have found that genre and who
Yeah.
I am
Yeah,
as an
yeah,
artist now. But you never know. You actually
Yeah.
never know where you could have been. And yeah, it's just from integrity has always been my most important thing that I hold to myself.
Yeah.
I feel like I have held all my integrity as an artist and as a person.
Yeah,
Absolutely.
So
100%.
that's it's
Yeah.
always been like I don't compromise with my music.
Yeah.
now.
No, you shouldn't.
I'm
You
like
shouldn't have to
so
as well.
like no, I don't do that.
That's your
not-
baby.
Yeah.
Like you've
Yeah.
put too much time and effort into this thing
Yeah.
to compromise whatsoever, and you're dead right. Like
And I think with like even say with this as well, like when we first started, and I've probably mentioned it a million times, and people are sick of it. But when we started this, it was kind of like, oh, let's build ourselves and like maybe we get something out of it or whatever. But now it's like sitting down talking to people like yourself and other people that we wouldn't have had this conversation with.
Yeah.
That means more to us
yeah,
than anything else.
Definitely.
Yeah.
And then that kind of, I think that shows as well through what we're doing and how we've grown as a podcast as well. And I think that's vitally important to people that are trying to do something, is that if someone, like when someone comes in and offers a lot of cheddar, it's like they're doing it for a reason, and it's not to benefit you.
Yeah,
It's to
exactly.
benefit them
Oh,
eventually.
yeah.
You get me?
100%.
Yeah.
I feel like I'm saying 100%.
100%.
100%. This whole
Back to the
episode,
100% podcast.
but it's true. It's 100%.
So you start in college, and like for me, what like I wanted to ask, what is it like when you go to this musical college? Because I remember, and this is maybe I don't think I've ever said it before. When I was going to leave school, I wanted to do music, but I was always afraid of like singing and like the boys all calling me this and that. Like even he's laughing, like you get me. Because he could never imagine. But there was a time, I don't know why he's having us up with a drink as well.
Don't say that. I was always afraid the guys when I used to sing and run. I was like, "What are you singing and running?"
No, but just
I just have this picture of Will
No.
Ferrell like in Separate, like la da dee da.
no, but it was one of those where like I wanted to do
Ah.
music, but I was afraid of
What people would
yeah,
think
yeah,
of
like
you, yeah.
me social circle or whatever. And I know he's laughing because he could never imagine me trying to sing. But I used to think I had a bit about me when I was 18, like 17,
Yeah.
18, and I did go to Ballyfermot to try and
to do it.
to do a course, like
Yeah.
so. Obviously didn't get it.
To
That's why I
certify
have
me.
a podcast.
Never too late. Never too late.
Hey, Ballyfermot College. Get him in.
I also do singing lessons.
Hey, there you go.
But like when you go into music and like with your voice as well, like you've got a really distinctive voice and it's that
Very
soulful
distinctive.
kind of. How does like did they kind of help you get this kind of voice, or was it always just naturally there? Like what's the kind of day to day of
I've
a
always kind of wondered this
college-
as well
of a
because
college.
like
Music college.
BIM has always been like for musicians who didn't go to BIM, like there's always been like I don't know if it's like the BIM snobs and stuff
Oh,
like that.
yeah.
Like,
There
there's
is
always that
definitely
aspect of it as
that
well.
aspect,
Like,
yeah.
because like you get like I never went to BIM. But I've always heard about. I did maybe think about it for a second, like, but I was like,
don't go to BIM.
don't go to.
It's like me going to Ballyfermot.
We need to educate ourselves a little bit better. No, but yeah, there's always that as well. Like, do you get me? I don't.
Yeah, I know. No,
No, go
you're
on, yeah,
actually
obviously.
right there. I think
Yeah.
It's kind of like what's the art college as well?
NCAD.
NCAD.
And
a
they're
lot of people.
very close to each other, you know.
Yeah,
Yeah.
people have
Around
that
the
about
corner.
NCAD as well.
Yeah.
But yeah, what's a day to day kind of like
In BIM
in
college.
BIM.
yeah, like did
Um,
they teach you singing?
Yeah, it was. I actually felt so bad for it when it was during COVID lockdown. Like, because BIM is just it's all performance based. Most of it is anyway. Like, obviously, how are you going to teach? Like, you do theory lessons and stuff like that.
Yeah.
I do. I don't want to speak too badly about BIM now, but I do think one of their shortcomings is that they don't really prepare you for real life as an
Yeah, I
get
artist
you, yeah,
as
yeah.
much. Like, it's a bit aspirational. Like you were telling, you can do whatever you want. You can be what kind anything, which is great, obviously. But like, I don't think it's realistic to the
Yeah.
industry. So it is very heavily performance based. To be like a lot of, I think the main career that you'd get out of BIM would be like a session musician. So you'd be really good, unless you did. I know there's like the production course and stuff. I didn't do that now, so
Yeah,
I don't know how that was. But,
But there's a lot of creative minds in BIM as well. So
Yeah.
you're going to rub off people who are in the
Yeah.
same sort of thing. That's what I would think,
think
would be
so.
the best thing coming out from me. You know,
definitely,
if I
I
was to
think
go,
the
like,
biggest thing, and everyone says this, is
Yeah.
the networking, the people you
Networking,
meet.
yeah.
Like half my band are still from BIM. Do you know?
There you go, like,
And
yeah.
like you do like meet so many people
Yeah.
that can not that can help you. I wouldn't say that,
Yeah.
but like they're your colleagues now.
Yeah.
Do
Yeah,
you know?
yeah,
They're
yeah.
all my colleagues now, and I think I went to like a very good. I was the year with Fontaine CC.
I was just about
And,
to say,
that-
Fontaine's
a lot
were
of
in
it,
there.
yeah, the lads and loads of other amazing session musicians came from my year. So I feel like I particularly had like a really strong year in BIM
Oh,
that year.
Absolutely, yeah.
So I do have such fond memories of those 4 years. I really felt like I found who I was as an artist.
But that's brilliant. That's what you want.
know,
like, you want to be able to find
yeah.
yourself like in these type of places.
Yeah, and I think it can very much like turn you off. Loads of people I knew either they did the course because they wanted the level 8, but like they realized by the end like this is not for me.
not for me,
Like this
yeah.
is not, because it is intense. It's tough and
Imagine
it's
so, yeah.
yeah, like it's.
And
yeah.
like, not to speak, like I've never been, but not to speak down on it either. It's like I feel like with those kind of courses, and I think maybe actually now that I think about it, with all courses, everyone's always trying to be the number one.
Yeah,
So
there's
people probably stand
competitiveness.
over it. Yeah.
Yeah, there is at the beginning, and it can be tough because I think a lot of people go in, especially like as a vocalist. I think as a singer, you go in thinking usually being the best singer in your year or in your school, and then you go and then you're not the best. You're like everyone's the best,
Reality.
like, and you're like, oh my god! But that's what the real world is like as well.
Yeah, of
So
course,
it's really
of course,
important to
yeah.
be put in those situations and learning from it. You
Absolutely.
know, learning from
Come away
failure
with
and learning
something, yeah.
from criticism and being able to hear no, I think is really
Yep.
important.
Yeah.
So that's good.
I do remember actually now thinking about when I was in college, I was sitting in a class, one of the first classes that I was in for my first year, one and only year, and the teacher was like, or the lecturer was like, see everyone in here, look around you and all, and I was looking around, I was like, 90% of you won't be here by the end of it. And I was sitting there, I was like, it won't be me, sir. It will not be me.
I'm gonna do it, sir.
6 months down the line, I was like, I hate this.
I'm gonna be a star.
Get him out of here.
Paddy Furman, why did you accept me?
No. No, but that's like, there's been a lot of bands that have come out of BIM as well. I think that's why I like, when obviously we were doing like coming through with villains and stuff like that, we'd obviously heard about like, you know, people who met in BIM and stuff like that, and I was kind of like, oh, like maybe they might have a bit of an edge on us and stuff like that because they were in sort of like this big creative hub and stuff like that. But again, it's not really like, I don't know, it might have helped in the formation of their band and they might be good musicians and stuff, but other than that, like what else, like, you know, do they have like kind of over it? It's nothing really, like they're just like, it's a different sort of route that they went and stuff, and it can be a really good one as well, as you said, like Fontaine's and stuff like kind of met there and stuff, so it does have its benefits like for that. But like, yeah, it's just one of those things we kind of used to look at it and be like, maybe they might know a bit more people in the industry. Do you know what I mean?
It's good for the foundations when
Exactly.
you're starting out your career,
Yeah.
and like if you want to really, really hone in on your craft, like as I think vocally, the vocal course is very, very good.
Yeah.
Okay.
I feel like I am teaching vocals now. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And I've learned all that from BIM. But I
Watch this
think
space, folks.
I do think though you don't have to go to a music college like
Yeah,
to do
yeah, of
music.
course,
Honestly,
yeah.
the most experience I've ever had is from being a gigging musician. So I go out and gig and
That's
learn
really
from
where you
that.
learn.
That's where you learn, and that's where you're trial by fire.
That's
like,
real
BIM
reality.
is like you do one song at your end of term gig, like that, and everyone
Yeah.
you big it up so much. You think it's the most important thing, and you do your one song, and then you get off stage. Like
That's it.
that's it.
Yeah.
So no, I didn't learn like how to be an artist from BIM.
Yeah.
No,
Yeah.
do you know what I mean?
Do
And
you remember your first gig?
yeah, yes,
Yeah.
I actually won a competition
nice.
in
You got a winner here,
I
folks.
know I was
Was it the Bellefermot College Rising Stars that I just missed out on?
oh, if only.
Prestigious, I must say.
There used to be a thing called Block C sessions. It was a guy called Cian Donahue, I think his name is, who ran it. It was like meant to be like Live Lounge, and
Okay,
I
yeah.
did this little random cover or something. Actually, Hosier did it. Before
Nice.
it was just when he was starting out. He did this, and I remember being in and being like, "We got this guy called Andrew in last week, and he was amazing." And I was like, "Oh my god!" And they were like, did a competition to play in the Button Factory.
Nice.
Oh no, it was
It's
the
not like
Academy.
Tilt.
The
No, no,
Academy.
Tilt did the Button
Tilt,
Factory,
yeah,
yeah.
the Academy. And I just got every single person I knew to watch the video like 100 times.
Nice.
And I got like the earliest slot in the Academy, like the
Wow.
main room. But I didn't have any songs. I hadn't written.
no, so you
So it was
just
all
did
just
covers.
covers. It's actually so cringe.
I'm like a
But
bird,
I was like,
fly away.
and I got my full band, and I was too young to be allowed into the venue because I was only 17.
Oh, serious?
Yeah, so all my friends came after school and none of them got in. They all had to
into
wait
it.
outside
Oh,
for me.
no.
It was gas, they all bought tickets and all. It was actually so funny. But it was a cool first gig, I will
Yeah.
say.
Yeah.
The Academy, like,
Do you,
still haven't
do you
played there
remember
since.
like the feeling of it? And
Yeah, it
like
was
getting up
brilliant.
there. And,
It is a great feeling though.
Yeah,
Being on stage is the best. Like.
I've been very lucky. I've never had real like stage fright or any fear
Yeah.
like
Yeah,
around
yeah.
performing. I've been very comfortable. I'm
Back
always
yourself.
on stage. Yeah, I back myself, back
Yeah,
my
yeah.
art, and it makes me feel alive. Like it's my favorite thing in the world.
It is brilliant.
still-
Like
yeah.
the only other time I kind of feel like the little jitter about going on stage is that one moment when like you get up and you're ready to go, and then everybody is just looking at it, and you have that. It's just a quiet.
Oh,
it's like
yeah.
they're waiting
You
for you to
command
start.
the room.
Do you get me? And
Yeah.
that's the only time it's like, right, let's go. Like,
Yeah.
like let's enjoy. Like,
You
so.
like your breath, and you're like, oh, everybody's looking at me.
It's not me now. It's my
Everybody's looking
turn.
at me right now.
And
but
everyone out there is naked.
Wow.
And I'm not. And I'm in control.
I
Oh God, I couldn't imagine it. Oh.
I remember when we
Proper
did our
stage
gig
frights.
we did a gig in Bellow Bar and stuff like that, and there was a band on before us and stuff. And I remember I came out of the crowd and just walked up and just grabbed my guitar and just started, and it was like I felt nothing. Like I just was like I'm focused on this one kind of thing, and like everyone was like, "Oh, are you ready?" And I wasn't even. I don't even remember what they were even talking about because I was just looking at my guitar. I was like, as soon as I got the kind of tap
Just
to
look
go, I
down
was
at
like,
his guitars in
"Let's
his
go."
hands.
You're
Like,
just
what?
I'm just like up. I'm on stage. But do you ever like? The one thing I always kind of say is like I'm too kind of fixed when I'm up there. Like I'm making sure that everything is done and like done to the best of my ability. It's only afterwards I kind of try and take a little moment to appreciate it. How is that for you? Do you kind of appreciate when you're up there, or is it more when you're off?
I try to enjoy myself as much as possible, especially the in between moments. I think the more you do it, the more comfortable you feel, and the more you're like. Because I think, when you start, you're just rushing through and you're just trying to get it done. You're just trying to finish, not make any mistakes, and be okay.
Left
but then,
foot, right foot, left foot, right
exactly. I'm just deep breath. But then when like you get more comfortable and you're like in your groove and you know like it's going well, everything's grand. You can kind of just take your time. I love to take pauses and just like add a little bit of suspense and be like.
So
Everybody's waiting for me. You know, you have that command. That's really powerful. Like it's really cool
so
feeling,
so,
you know, to be like.
that's the thing
everyone
as well.
is waiting.
Taking those long pauses in between and not feeling like
There's
you're
pressure.
under the pressure.
Exactly. It's like
I'm
it's
up
your
here.
show.
I'm
It's your
doing it. I'm
moment.
doing what I want up here, like kind of thing.
Exactly.
That's you live for those moments.
Yeah, and you see, I love watching other artists. Actually, that's my favorite thing to like study them and see not just it's not the performance, it's the like in between, and it's like how they command the stage, how they talk to how they interact. That makes a good artist great to me. It's so important. Your like stage presence and like what you do with the time that you have, because like anyone can sing everything perfectly, and like I am a very meticulous performer, but I think it's so important to like engage as well and like have both. You know?
It definitely is, like just to have that interaction with your crowd and stuff like that. I think that's something extra that not a lot of people kind of do, like especially in a band kind of community and stuff like that. There may be one or two things they might have a talk with the audience, stuff like that, but some bands just rush through their set, and sometimes you're almost like, just take a bit more time.
I know,
just
take a
enjoy
breath.
it a little bit more.
Remember,
I can imagine being at a yoga gig and it being very personal and and like kind of like
Intimate, like almost,
yeah.
Because of the music that you sing and kind of like when you go to say the Villains, if I go to a Villains gig, I'm 10 points deep and I'm like, oh Rob, I love you, you know.
I know.
And he's looking down at me and I'm like, I love you, man. He's like, Ryan, stop looking at me so
Ryan,
intensely.
stop. God, you're distracting me.
That's I know, but there's time and place for that too. I love making people dance. I love like full high energy moments
because
too.
there is a few bops on the album as well.
Yeah.
That's not just like.
I love getting people to sing along. I love crowd interaction. I love like parts of Aphrodite were definitely written with the just the electronic
for the live
vibe
kind of thing
in mind.
Yeah.
I was like, I want to make people.
I think it's the last,
the
second last and the third last tune. I'm sorry, I don't recall the names off by the heart, but there is definitely there's the last song and then there's two before that where I was listening to them and I was like, okay, we're up here now.
We're getting up. We're moving.
Yeah.
yeah, definitely. Yeah, there was definitely those influences. I was listening to loads of like Kate Trinata and more like thumpy kind of bits there. So I love a bit of electro soul as well. Yeah.
But I think as like an artist that has such a strong voice is that you can kind of move into like you're not just a one trick pony kind of thing. It's you can move into the kind of funky soul.
Don't pigeonhole yourself into these categories.
No, I don't think anyone should as an artist. Like you're so much more.
Would that come with working with like say a producer that kind of has that vibe, or do you actively go out to try and do something like that as well?
Yeah, it depends. I would love to do more dance tunes. I know, like, but maybe not as my own. I'd love to just feature. I love that's
a
so.
Belters only
Yeah,
feature.
Belters only.
I'll stop, bro.
Give us a text. No, like, I don't know. You know,
You're broke.
I love dancing. I
No,
love
but you can see that with Jazzy, like,
Yeah.
she's
got. I'd love to see Jazzy make like some more soulful bops, like
Yeah,
stuff that
yeah.
isn't as like upbeat, dancey, because it's her voice is
Her
phenomenal.
voice is phenomenal.
Yeah,
She
yeah.
can really
Phenomenal.
showcase
Exactly.
it. Like,
And I think I'm going the other direction. I want
Yeah.
to do a Jazzy. Like, I'm
Yeah.
like, her voice is amazing. They're so much fun to do those kind of
Yeah, of
songs
course.
too.
Yeah, of
Like, you get
course,
the
yeah.
crowd going. So
But like, you could just get onto someone like a DJ and be like, "What's up? See that tune there? Trying to do a little remix on that?"
Yeah,
100%.
absolutely.
Because like I think that's how it starts with a lot of like these
It's all about collaboration.
collabs.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Definitely.
It's like someone with like, because even like when I was going out in town years ago, there was a song called it's kind of it's like
Living the Villa Loca.
no, praise him till your blessings come down.
You're really going for this
you know
singing
that
thing
song?
today, aren't you?
Beautiful.
No.
Are you gonna get
Oh my
compliments
God.
here?
Do you go to Ballyfermot?
Don't make me blush. No, but it was I can't think of the name of it. But it was it's a like, and even with dance tunes, like say Robin S, Show Me Love, like there's always that strong female vocal.
Yeah.
over a
Yeah,
dance
in that
tune, like,
particular
Oh
category.
yeah, well,
Yeah.
like that's when I did Heartbreaks and Promises with Mango Mathman. That was
Yeah,
like my
yeah.
big. That's so much fun to perform. Like,
Yeah.
it's so different from what I do now, and like my own music is really different. But it's new crowds, new audiences, and just
course, yeah.
it's such good crack.
But that's
Like,
part of being an
so-
artist
yeah,
as well.
you
though.
should
Just
be able to
being-
do everything.
Yeah, like being a sponge and being able to
Yeah.
just like like mold into whatever comes your way. If there's an offer for a collaboration like that, 100%.
Yeah.
Like get on that. Like.
Definitely.
And you collabed with one of our mates, Rebel P.
I did.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah. That was.
How was that working with Rebel?
It was great.
Yeah,
Oh my
he's
god.
some man, isn't he?
He's just a very calming presence, isn't he?
Very calm.
He is
He
very.
is. He's
But
like
he'll also
a
box the head
sage
off if he
wisdom.
wants to.
Yeah, I know.
I also
He
get
is,
that from
yeah.
Liv as well. Like,
Yeah.
dig the head off you if you wanted to.
Love you, Rebel.
Love you, Rebel.
How was it working with Rebel?
It was great
Yeah.
working with him. Yeah, that was a really quick turnaround. I
Oh,
think.
really? Yeah.
He sent me the tune. That was
It was 2022, was it? It was
yeah, a couple of
kinda,
years ago. He sent me that basically, I think it was like a vocal sample
Yeah.
of this track "Care for You," and it was. I don't think there was any like lyrics really, but the song was called "Care for You." That was one of the songs I actually wrote based around just the name,
Okay. Yeah,
and it was just kind of a hook, and
Yeah.
then did it in the studio a couple of hours. It was in and
and
out,
dusted.
done and
Yeah,
dusted.
yeah,
Yeah. A lovely tune actually.
Yeah.
I haven't heard that in ages. I need to listen back to it.
Get back on that.
Yeah, very good.
And is that like, I know you're talking about kind of your writing and stuff now. Is there any kind of collabs that you're looking? Is there anyone you would? Because like, me and Bob have been discussing, and kind of the premise of the podcast is to get these kind of creatives in Dublin that are doing things that might not be like fully like out there as in successful. Like if you want to put the converted commas around that, but it's kind of like bringing the underground artists on and kind of giving them a highlight,
Yeah.
kind of to have a long form conversation about their work and what they do. And we do feel like Dublin's at like this kind of melting pot where it's like just ready to boil over because there's so many.
So many good
Yeah.
artists
artists
out there.
like, at the
I
moment.
think
Is there anyone kind of out there that you might like you'd like to maybe do a collab with, or is there anyone you're?
there is. You're dead right. The scene is just hopping at the moment.
Yeah.
It's like a golden
And it's not just
era.
even music; it's like
No, it's
even
everywhere.
everything-
I think
everything.
it's just everyone's kind of angry, to be honest. Like,
Yeah,
I feel
they
like
just
there's a
wanna
bit.
express
People are
themselves, yeah.
pissed,
Yeah.
and they're like, "I've no money."
We're not
but
gonna
we're
take
making
it.
great art anyway.
Yeah.
I think, and we've always been making great art. Like
Yeah, of
Dublin,
course, yeah.
and I feel like Dublin's on the map at the moment.
Yeah.
Brick Nasty, the lads of Brick Nasty are
come on,
artists.
yeah.
Just there, I have worked with some of them. They're all such phenomenal musicians. I'd
Yeah.
love to do some stuff with Fat Boy. I think we're gonna
Fat
get in
Boy,
the
so
studio
good.
soon.
So boy, isn't he?
There's
Ballymun stand up.
yeah, fair play to him.
Yeah.
Who else? There's so many. There's literally I'd love to work with Chamomile Club, Abby Coulibaly,
yeah, come on.
Moyo.
Respond to us, Abby.
Yeah,
Abby.
literally, she's so great. I feel like they're like on another level. To be
Yeah.
honest, in our
Monjola.
Monjola,
Yeah.
Moyo, they're all
Oh, Moyo was done
So good.
That tune it
Yeah.
just blew up out of
Yeah.
nowhere. Yeah.
yeah, so good.
Crazy good. Yeah.
He's amazing. There's
Yeah.
actually there's a guy called Abdul who I'm working with at the moment. He does keys for Moyo, and
nice.
he was in a band called Protective. There's some amazing musicians coming from Cork at the moment.
Oh, really?
From
Yeah.
MTU. Yeah, I think
Wow.
there's like
But we, sorry, Melina, did we not have someone on and there was Sunil Sharp was saying there's a big collective down in Cork and Limerick and
Did he?
for
Yeah.
nights out and stuff.
Yeah, they were saying like
Oh, we did.
Yeah,
we did.
yeah,
Yeah,
your
man-
sorry.
Abdul is based in Cork, and he was just like the best musicians are in Cork, like,
Okay,
and especially for like jazz, that more like that's
Yeah.
that's kind of where I'm going at the moment.
Yeah,
I'm
yeah,
going
yeah.
in more of a jazz kind of experimental phase,
Of course, yeah.
and
Those
more
musicians
live.
though have to like are
Oh, top notch!
phenomenal though.
You have to have the best music. I'm very
Best drummers
very
out there, like-
particular
Yeah,
with who
yeah.
I bring into my
Yeah, of
space.
course, yeah.
I make
I'd say that's a great melting pot to be in though as well. Like
Yeah.
just of all, like because you'd feed off that so well.
Oh,
Like
yeah. Like I'm a muso through and through. Like I'm so inspired by the music side of things, and I
Yeah.
listen to lots of mad stuff. So I am really particular about who I get into this to play with me.
Okay,
you know?
cool, yeah,
So my band is very important to me as well.
Yeah, yeah,
They're
yeah.
all
Amazing.
amazing
you
players.
need to be. You need to be on that to make sure it's the best. Like
Gotta back your homies.
Defo.
Yeah, so like with regards to kind of moving forward, have you got like anything lined up to come out soon, or are you still working on projects, or can we get a little exclusive? Or
Ooh, so
it's going out in a few weeks, so
yeah, I can't believe it, but I'm working on a second album already,
Nice.
which is amazing. But I'm doing it in a very different way, I think,
Okay.
to the first one. The first
Yeah.
one, I kind of went in a little cocoon and I didn't finish any, or sorry, we didn't release anything until it was finished. I was like, nobody gets to hear this. I didn't
my
show,
music.
literally didn't show it to anyone. So everyone was like, oh my god, it came out then 3 years later,
Yeah.
which was really tough because like I really missed gigging and I missed obviously releasing. I'm doing it very differently this time, I think.
Okay, yeah.
I'm going to trickle the singles out. I'm going to play them before they're out
Yeah,
and
yeah,
not
yeah.
be as precious to it because like life's too short, to be honest.
Exactly.
Yeah,
Just enjoy the music while it's
Yeah.
out, because
Yeah,
that's
yeah.
what I my biggest regret, I think. I don't have any regrets, but like I just look back on that time and be like, I wish I enjoyed it more at the time while I was
that's the
writing them.
thing though.
Of course,
Yeah.
yeah.
Because it's then by the time it's out, you don't care. You don't give a
exactly.
fuck.
Yeah,
I
just
don't want to
get
listen
rid
to
of
my
it.
album anymore. Like it's over. Like I'm on this next one now, so I want to
Yeah.
enjoy it while it's fresh. To be
Yeah,
honest,
of
so
course.
yeah, I think there'll be another release very soon.
On the
Keep an eye on the
horizon.
socials for that. But yeah, I'm really happy with
Yeah.
the new stuff. I
Okay.
can't
And
wait for people
still
to hear it.
working with
No,
the
we
band
can't
and
wait to
stuff.
hear it.
Yeah, it's more
Yeah.
live actually, because
Yeah,
like
yeah.
Brilliant.
the first album was all heavily produced with like electronic
Yeah,
elements,
yeah,
so
yeah.
it was all kind of done with producers.
Yep.
Yeah.
And this time I'm bringing
Stripping it
my
back,
band
like,
in
yeah.
and doing a lot of live stuff, which
Do you
is
do
so
live
fun.
recording as well? Like
Yeah. So,
so good.
and I'm letting that inform how the song goes, because I bring it
Getcha,
to the
yeah.
band, we rehearse it, we gig it, we see what works, what doesn't work, and then
Yeah.
we
Get a
go
good
and
feel for it,
record
kind
it,
of, yeah.
which is different to how I usually would have done it, and I'm really enjoying it so far. So.
And you know what?
Nice.
Now that you say that, I think like a lot of artists are kind of going to the bit, like say Brick Nasty, for example, and even when Curtis that we had on, he done the live show with a band Ganzi.
Yeah.
So like I think like from what I can see, like people are stripping it back and just going back to the actual music rather
Which
than
is
the
great to
maybe
see though.
heavily produced
Yeah.
studio stuff.
I think once you do the first one, it's really fun and exciting
Yep.
at the start. You're
Yeah,
like,
of
oh my god,
course.
look at all the sounds I can make, blah blah. But then you're like, yeah, you kind of need to. Then you crave the other one.
Yeah.
Like you
Yeah.
crave the live stuff, which is what
Yeah.
I'm craving now. So. And yeah, once like I gigged that album all last year, the year before, and it changed my whole perspective on it again
Yeah.
after bringing it to the band and performing it live. So I want to bring those elements into the next record.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
And yeah, the players are there and they're brilliant. So
Yeah.
I want to show them off.
Showcase them 100%.
Yeah, exactly.
I can't stop saying 100%.
100%,
I really have to stop
100%.
doing it. I keep
100%,
catching
100%.
myself doing it. Sorry, kids. How are you with like me? I would it would take me a long time to kind of maybe let go of a song before I release it. How is that for yourself, or how has that been previously? Like, you were saying there that you held on to things for like
Yes.
3 years and stuff like that, but
Yeah.
now you've learned to kind of let it go.
Yes,
You just
exactly. Yeah.
get them out as soon as they're gone.
Yeah.
You kind of let go of that.
Previously, I was like so particular. I would
Yep.
take a really long time. I would be like, everything has to be perfect. And it does in some sense. I still am that way when it comes to like production and making the song sound great. But
Yep.
you also, I'm not Beyonce. I'm not like, people are not waiting. Like, do you know what I mean? I don't have a giant fan base. I don't
Yeah.
I have the privilege of like not having a giant label telling me what to do. So
Exactly,
why
yeah,
am I
yeah.
why am
Why
I
you-
putting
why you
this
standing
pressure on
around waiting
myself?
for it? Yeah, yeah.
Exactly, because I
Yeah.
think you think
Unnecessary
you
almost, like,
because
yeah.
you're looking at what the big artists do and you're like, oh, they have this campaign and they don't do anything, they don't get. They're also like, you know, they're millionaires, so they don't have, they can take the time off gigging. I don't
Yeah.
have that
Yeah.
luxury, and I
Do
don't
it right
want
now.
to
Yeah,
as
of
well.
course.
So yeah, I'm doing it differently this time. which
But I
is
think,
good.
but I think for maybe smaller kind of independents, it's you get that deeper connection with people that do show up and like that are there for you, rather than doing all these tours and like not really giving a shit. Like you're just getting paid to do it. Like I know obviously money makes the world go round, and that's the root of all evil as well. But to be fully independent, like even with us now, like we can do as we want. We don't need to have any shackles of like you're not allowed to do this or you're not allowed to do that.
Yeah.
But with like if you go to a label, they're like, oh, we don't really like that song. That could be your favorite song.
Exactly.
Like,
There's a lot more input into what you're trying to do and stuff.
Exactly.
It does box you off to a degree.
Yes,
Yeah.
it does. And I was doing it to myself in the first time around because I thought it was the right thing to do.
Yeah.
You don't know. You don't know until you do it. And then you realize, wait, why am I putting all this pressure on myself? Like, I'm the boss of me.
Yeah, exactly.
So, then you can do it your own way.
Yeah.
Because we did it in a similar type of format. We released an EP and did like 5 songs on it. And then for the second EP, we staggered them out like one and one and one. And that had such a better impact on it. Then it's almost like if you were to release the whole album and stuff like that, it's great to get it out there, but then that's all your ammunition out the door. That's everything. And then you kind of are in the space where it's like, oh, look, we have to kind of go back and you have to write and record again. Whereas like if you drip them out, you can always be working on other things while you still have all these to kind of go. Does that make sense? Like, so that's something that if I was going back into the music again, I'd do that type of way. Because that was just more beneficial.
It's such a double-edged sword as well, though, because
Yeah.
like I do feel like the art of the album is being lost. Like people aren't listening to the album anymore. And even like when I released my album, I could not believe like how quickly it wasn't a thing. Like I released it, and then a week later, everyone's like, "So what's next?" And I was like, "What?
I just
released
released
this.
this." I know,
So
that's
it's
how it
just
is
like
though.
people and they don't even listen to it. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah,
so
yeah.
I'm an album kind of artist.
I
like
love
I very
albums,
much I'm
yeah.
gonna just keep making albums.
Yeah,
as
do it.
long
Do
as
it,
I
yeah.
can. And this is gonna be an album. It's not gonna be loads of collection of singles. It's gonna be a body
Has a
of work,
theme, has
thematic,
everything. Yeah,
very
yeah.
important. But I'm just gonna be less precious with like showing people the process and like
Brilliant.
the song, the
Get
single
out there.
will be.
Stop your messing.
Yeah, exactly. And like if anyone wants to fund the album, that would be great too.
Oh my god.
Well, look, to wrap it up now, we could sit here and talk all day with
All
this
day.
album, but Dublin Whiskey have asked us to ask our guests, what does living in the moment mean to you?
What does living in the moment
Yeah.
mean to me? Oh, it means taking risks and hoping that they pay off, and even if they don't, you will learn something from it.
Brilliant.
So, yeah.
That was a nice
That,
one.
that was a really
Thank
good one.
you.
That
I
was
just
really
about
good.
to take a sip of this. I was like, no, stop.
Look straight down the camera. I'm only messing. But now, look, it's been absolute pleasure to meet you, and thanks so much for dropping up. It's
Thank you.
definitely
That was
a different conversation to what we've had.
Yeah.
'Cause now we've had a lot of rappers on. But I think you're the first kind of female vocalist that we've had on, if I'm not mistaken.
Yep.
From I think it was 2 years ago since we had
Oh,
a female vocalist on. So
repping the girlos.
it is. It's been a pleasure kind of speaking to you and hearing your kind of thoughts behind. Because with albums, it's a lot of people kind of miss the themes to albums and miss the kind of
a
message.
lost art maybe sometimes, yeah.
Yes.
And I think speaking to you, it kind of comes out a little bit more in your personality and kind of how you done it. And I think that's definitely what we wanted to put across. So thanks so much for
Thanks
that.
so much for coming on. Lovely
Thanks,
to meet
guys.
you.
You too.
This is my first time remembering this, but if you liked the video, like and subscribe. Is that what you do on YouTube now?
That's so bad.
I'm a YouTuber, is it? But yeah, I don't know,
YouTubers
like,
now.
Jack of all trades today. Singer,
like and subscribe.
YouTuber. Love.
Yeah, keep liking, keep following, keep sharing, and if you have a chance, listen to Melina's work and buy her album.
You won't be disappointed,
Yes,
folks.
Thank
Yeah.
you so much.
Catch you next week.
See you next week.
Bye.